Welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be digging into the world of off-price retail today,
Sounds good.
specifically TJX Companies.
Okay.
The company behind, all those stores we love for a good bargain.
Yeah.
TJ Maxx, Marshall's, HomeGoods.
Yep.
We've got a whole bunch of reports and insights to go through,
All right.
sort of like our treasure map today,
I like it.
to try and figure out why their stock hit an all-time high and then kind of took a dip.
Interesting.
What I find really interesting about TJX is that they're doing so well
Right.
when so many other retailers are,
Struggling, yeah.
having a tough time. And
Absolutely.
it seems like you're almost like going against the grain.
They really are. I mean, it's not just a handful of stores either.
Right.
We're talking about a massive operation.
Yeah, like how many stores are we talking about here?
Over 5,000 stores across 9 countries.
Wow.
And they employ something like 340,000 people.
It's incredible how many people are looking for those deals. And I think their latest earnings report really highlights this.
Yeah.
They actually beat earnings expectations,
They did.
but then the stock dipped a little bit.
Right.
So what's going on there?
Well, it's kind of a Wall Street thing.
Okay.
On the surface, the numbers look great.
Yeah. What were some of the specifics?
Earnings per share were $1.14.
Not bad.
Revenue grew by 6%, and same-store sales were up 3%.
So that's a sign of a healthy business.
Absolutely. But Wall Street is always looking ahead.
Right.
They're obsessed with what they call guidance, which is basically the company's own predictions for the future.
Oh, I see.
And it seems like TJX's guidance, though positive,
Yeah.
maybe didn't quite meet those super high expectations that analysts had.
So they're not just performing well.
Right.
They have to exceed expectations that are already sky high.
Exactly. It's a tough game.
It is. So how do they do it?
Well,
What's the secret to their success?
what allows them to not only survive, but thrive in this retail landscape? A few key factors really make their model work. First, they are incredible negotiators.
Okay.
They manage to get brand name merchandise at really steep discounts,
Like how much are we talking?
often between 20% and 60% off,
Wow.
from a massive network of over 21,000 vendors.
21,000 worldwide.
That's incredible.
It's not just about getting a low price, though.
Right.
It's about building relationships with these vendors
Okay.
and capitalizing on opportunities that traditional retailers might miss.
What kind of opportunities are we talking about?
Things like canceled orders or overstock situations.
So they're kind of like swooping in.
Yeah, like retail hawks.
I like that analogy.
They're always circling, looking for those deals.
Makes sense. But it can't just be about buying low, can it?
Nope. They have to turn that inventory around quickly.
Right, to keep the cash flowing.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes shopping at their stores so exciting. It's that treasure hunt experience.
You never know what you're going to find.
Exactly. There's no stale merchandise sitting around.
So it's like a constantly changing landscape. That keeps shoppers coming back.
To see what's new.
For sure. And there's one other big difference between TJX and traditional retailers.
Okay. Tell me.
They don't do private labels.
Oh, that's right?
They stick to well-known brands.
That's smart.
It's all about leveraging that existing consumer recognition and trust,
Right.
and it's a much more cost-effective strategy.
And trying to create their own brands.
Exactly. So we've got the foundation of their success.
Okay, let's recap.
Savvy, buying rapid inventory turnover, and sticking with those recognizable brands.
Got it. But where do they go from here?
Well, one area I'm really interested in is their international expansion.
Me too.
They're definitely not content with just staying where they are.
What are some of their plans?
Well, they've recently started a joint venture in Mexico,
Wow.
and they're also planning to open TJ Maxx stores in Spain.
Interesting. So it seems like they're really thinking strategically about this.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just randomly opening stores everywhere.
They're targeting specific markets where their model can really resonate.
Makes sense. But what about investors?
Right.
They see the stock price going up and down.
Yeah.
Is TJX a good long-term bet?
That's the million-dollar question.
Literally.
One thing to note is that they're very committed to returning value to shareholders.
How so?
They're actively buying back shares and consistently paying dividends.
That's a good sign.
It is. It shows they're confident in their future growth.
So stepping back for a moment,
Okay.
what does TJX's success tell us about the bigger picture of retail?
That's a good question.
What are consumers really looking for these days?
Well, TJX's dominance highlights a few key trends, I think.
Like what?
First, brand names still matter.
Yeah, people love a good deal on a brand they recognize.
Exactly.
What else?
Well, with all the economic uncertainty these days, consumers are definitely looking for value. They
Right.
want to feel like they're getting the most bang for their buck.
Makes sense.
And I think just as importantly, they want a shopping experience that's actually enjoyable,
That's interesting.
not just a chore.
So it's a combination of practicality and emotional satisfaction.
I think you hit the nail on the head there.
It's getting a great deal on something you actually want.
Exactly. And if you shop at TJX stores,
Yeah.
you probably understand this intuitively.
Right.
But now you have a deeper appreciation for the strategy behind it all.
Absolutely. And if you're an investor, this gives you some valuable insights into
Yeah.
a company that's really defying the odds.
Exactly. And we've only just scratched the surface here.
There's always more to uncover.
Right.
When we come back,
Yeah.
we'll dig into the specifics of their recent success and examine some of the potential roadblocks they might face in the future.
Sounds good. So we were talking about how TJX is able to find those amazing deals.
Yeah, it's almost like they have a sixth sense for sniffing out bargains.
Right. It's not magic, though.
So what is it?
It's all about their relationships.
Okay.
They have this huge network of vendors.
Yeah, we talked about that, over 21,000.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And they've built really strong relationships with them.
I see.
Many of these vendors are like top-tier brands and designers.
Okay, so give me an example.
Sure. One of our sources mentioned a story about a buyer who scored a shipment of designer handbags.
Oh, wow.
These bags were originally meant for a luxury department store,
Okay.
but then the store went bankrupt.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a sudden thing.
Wow.
But TJX was able to step in and buy those bags at a fraction of the original price.
So they're not just getting a good deal.
Right.
They're also helping out these vendors when things go wrong.
Exactly. It's about being reliable and being able to act fast.
So they're always ready to jump on an opportunity.
Absolutely. And they're open to things that traditional retailers might overlook.
Like what?
Oh, maybe a manufacturer made too many of a certain item.
Oh.
Or a department store canceled an order last minute.
So TJX is there to pick up the pieces.
Exactly. And that's what keeps their inventory so fresh and exciting.
It sounds like a pretty dynamic environment.
It is. It's fast-paced, for sure.
So they've got the buying part down, but then they have to figure out how to price everything.
Right. It's a balancing act.
Yeah, because they have to be lower than traditional retailers.
But they still need to make a profit.
So how do they find that sweet spot?
It's a mix of things.
Okay, like what?
Well, they use a lot of data analysis.
Okay,
They track fashion trends. They look at historical sales data.
makes sense.
And they keep an eye on what their competitors are doing.
Right.
But it's also about having that retail intuition.
Oh, so it's not just numbers.
No, it's a bit of an art, too.
Okay, I get it. So let's talk about their customers.
Yeah, what keeps people coming back to TJX stores?
Right. What's the appeal?
Well, I think it's that combination of value variety and the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah, that treasure hunt aspect we were talking about.
Exactly. You never know what you're going to find.
And they have such a wide range of merchandise.
Right. You can find everything from designer clothes to home decor.
Toys, even gourmet food sometimes.
It's true. And it's all at those amazing prices.
So they're not just targeting one type of shopper.
No, they're appealing to a really broad audience.
Okay, so things are going well for TJX right now.
They are.
But what about the future?
Well, there are always challenges in retail.
Like what?
One big one is competition.
Okay.
The off-price market is getting more and more crowded.
So they can't just sit back and relax.
Exactly. They have to keep innovating.
What else?
Well, managing their global expansion is another challenge.
Yeah, going international is tough.
It is. You have to deal with different regulations and cultures.
And figure out what people in each country want to buy?
Exactly. And then there are external factors that can affect any retailer.
Like what?
Oh, things like the economy or supply chain disruptions.
And so they have to be prepared for anything,
Bro, it's about being flexible and adaptable.
which they seem to be pretty good at.
Yeah, they've proven they can weather storms and come out on top.
So what's the key takeaway here?
Well, I think TJX's success shows that understanding the consumer is crucial.
Right.
You have to know what they want and how to give it to them.
And be able to adapt to changes.
Exactly, because the retail landscape is always evolving.
Okay, so next up,
Yeah.
we'll talk about the bigger implications of TJX's success
Sounds good.
and what other retailers can learn from them.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So we've talked a lot about how TJX has been so successful,
Yeah.
but what does it all mean for the rest of the retail world?
I think TJX offers some really valuable lessons for anyone in retail.
Okay, like what?
First and foremost, they really understand the modern consumer.
Yeah.
They know that people aren't just looking for the cheapest thing anymore.
Right.
It's about value and variety and having a good experience.
It's like they figured out how to make people feel good about saving money.
Exactly. It's not just about the price, it's about the whole
I
experience.
like that treasure hunt aspect.
Right.
That feeling of discovery.
They've really tapped into something there.
So it's like they're rewarding you for being a savvy shopper.
Yeah, they get that people are doing their research and they're willing to put in the effort to find a good deal.
But they still want to enjoy the process.
Exactly. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
So what else can we learn from TJX?
Well, I think their ability to adapt is really impressive.
Yeah, we talked about how they can change their buying strategy on a dime.
Right. They're not stuck with a rigid plan.
They're always ready to adjust.
Exactly, which is essential in retail because things change so quickly.
It's like they're always looking ahead.
Trying to anticipate the next big thing.
And that brings us to another important lesson: innovation.
Right, TJX isn't afraid to try new things.
They're always pushing the boundaries.
Whether it's through their store design or their merchandising or even their online presence.
It's pretty inspiring to see a company that's not content with just doing the same old thing.
Yeah, they're always looking for ways to improve.
So what's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think TJX's story shows us that success in retail requires a few key things.
Okay, tell me.
You have to really understand your customer.
Right.
You have to be flexible and adaptable.
And you have to be constantly innovating.
Great advice.
I think so.
Well, this deep dive into TJX has been fascinating.
It has.
We've learned so much about their business model and what makes them tick.
And hopefully we've given our listeners some food for thought.
Absolutely. Whether you're a shopper or a business owner, there's a lot to take away from TJX's success.
Definitely.
So next time you're at TJ Maxx or Marshall's or HomeGoods,
Yeah.
take a moment to appreciate the strategy and the innovation that goes into creating those amazing deals.
I will.
And maybe even think about how you can apply some of those lessons to your own life.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It was fun.
Until next time, happy hunting.